Hello everyone, welcome to today's video. So here is a shocking reality that will make you question everything you think you know about the PMP exam preparation. You can score very high on every single mock test in your PMP exam preparation. Let's say 80 to 90% might be your average mock scores whilst you are preparing for the PMP. And you walk into that exam room feeling completely confident. However, you walk out failing the PMP exam. Now, if you have been relying solely on your mock test scores as your confidence meter for PMP success, I need you to pay very close attention to what I am about to share in this video. You see guys, almost every month I receive messages from devastated candidates who were trying to become PMP certified after writing the PMP exam, saying things like, Ray, I was consistently scoring 85 to 90% on all my practice tests. I thought I had this exam in the bag, but I failed miserably. What went wrong? Do you know what the harsh truth is? High mock test scores can actually create a false sense of security that leads to exam failure. There is a massive gap between performing well on the practice questions and successfully navigating the real PMP exam environment. And most PMP exam aspirants are completely unaware of this interlinkage. By the way, if you are new here, I am Ray and I'm a PMP and a Prince2 certified project manager with over 15 years of experience in project management. I currently work as a program manager in the United Kingdom, and for the past 6 years, I've been coaching PMP aspirants to not just pass the exam, but to strategize properly for the exam as well. And in today's video, I'll walk you through 4 critical reasons why the so-called mock test champions for the PMP exam, flaunting their mock scores on Reddit, Facebook and whatnot, become real actual PMP exam failures, okay? And more importantly, how you as one of the PMP exam aspirants who is watching this video can avoid these traps if you are preparing for the PMP exam. So let's get into it. So let's start with the first critical reason: mock test environment versus the real exam pressure. Now, this is where most candidates get their first reality check, okay? And it's often too late by then. You see guys, when you are taking mock tests at home, you are in your comfort zone, right? Your favorite chair, familiar surroundings, maybe a cup of coffee nearby, and zero consequences if you fail. However, on the other side of the spectrum, the real PMP exam throws you into a completely different psychological battlefield, okay? Picture this, you are sitting in an unfamiliar testing center, surrounded by strangers, with strict proctoring rules, knowing that this one exam could determine your career trajectory. The stakes are real, guys. Now, what's worse is that this pressure or stress often peaks during the first 50 to 60 questions or set 1 of your PMP exam, right? Many candidates spend excessive time on early questions of the first set because they are nervous, which creates a time crunch for set 2 and set 3 of your exam. This cascading effect of stress and time pressure can completely derail even the most prepared candidates. The key insight here: mock tests do not simulate the psychological reality of high stakes testing environments, okay? And you need to prepare for this mental challenge just as seriously as you prepare for the PMP exam content and the syllabus. Now, if you are finding this content valuable, guys, please hit that like button and subscribe to this channel PMP with Ray. It helps me understand that you appreciate educational content like this on YouTube and motivates me to create more such videos to help you excel in project management. Now, moving on to the next. This one surprises a lot of people, okay? Especially experienced project managers who are trying to appear for the PMP exam. Let's say you have been leading teams for years and you know pretty well what works as you leading a project as a project manager. Hence, you rely on your instincts, and whilst answering a question, you pick that answer option you think you would have done as a PM if you would have been in the situation, okay? Now, what is the problem in this hypothesis? Well, it is that the PMP exam doesn't really care what you would do, okay? It wants what PMI recommends. counterintuitively, being too experienced as a project manager can lead to wrong answers because real-world actions often do not align with the PMI's mindset. Now let's try to understand this with an example. A stakeholder is unhappy with a deliverable, but it meets all the documented and approved requirements. What should you do as a project manager? Now, most project managers would say, okay, I will remind them that we met the requirements, and I will do a reality check for the stakeholder because the documents were all approved and the requirements were all met, and move on, right? Now, this might make sense in the real world. However, PMI prefers something like, I will work with the stakeholder to understand their expectations and try to get them aligned to the current situation, etc., which is very pragmatic but very, very balanced, okay? And often in real life, if you would have been the project manager, this might not have been your first option, or let's say your first plan of action if you were in that situation. Now coming to the third, or should I say the one that really throws people off, okay, quite unexpectedly. Many questions in the PMP exam won't have a clear answer, okay? Instead, you will have a couple of answer choices which are very, very close, and both of them might sound quite reasonable. Now, interestingly, this is where the mindset comes in, okay? PMI wants the best possible choice that reflects the exam content outline based on leadership, value delivery, and team empowerment. For example, let's take this scenario, okay? Your team misses a sprint goal. What is the next best step for you as a project manager? Options may include Option 1, reprioritize the backlog. Option 2, facilitate a retrospective with the team. Option 3, issue a performance warning. Or Option 4, cancel and move on to the next sprint. Pause the video here and think which are the two closest answer choices before we move on in this video. Now, of course, it's either Option 1, reprioritize the backlog, or Option 2, which is to facilitate a retrospective with the team, right? Now, you might say that, well, in my company, or if I would have been the Scrum Master or the project manager, we would have reprioritized the backlog. And that may also be fair in real life situation, okay? However, PMI wants you to pick Option B as the correct answer choice, which is to facilitate a retrospective. Because Agile as a methodology values learning and continuous improvement, not firefighting and reprioritization without any basis. Now, the challenge for you as the PMP exam aspirant is the mocks which you are practicing from may not prepare you for these kind of nuances between very close answer choices. Now guys, see, I'm not saying mock tests are useless, okay? Please don't get me wrong. I still recommend using them. However, every simulator has its distinct characteristics. Now, here is a shameless plug for my own mock simulator on Udemy. In this mock, you will experience plenty of such examples between two very close answer choices, and the detailed answers and explanations I have provided with this mock exam will help you to learn how to choose the one which is the correct answer choice and how to identify and reject the incorrect answer choice. So make sure you check out my mock simulator on Udemy. You read the reviews for yourself. Overall feedback for this mock simulator has been excellent. Now let's talk about the fourth critical reason: time management and misconceptions around managing time whilst you are in your PMP exam. And this one catches even the most disciplined test takers completely off guard. You see guys, when you are practicing at home, as I was mentioning probably in for the first point that we were discussing, you can pause whenever you want, take breaks, grab water, or even restart if something goes wrong, okay? However, the real PMP exam operates on a completely different time structure that most mock tests fail to replicate accurately. The actual exam gives you 230 minutes for 180 questions divided into 3 sections of 60 questions each. Set 1, Set 2 and Set 3, with a couple of mandatory 10-minute breaks in between, okay? So first break between Set 1 and Set 2 and the second break between Set 2 and Set 3. Now here's the catch. These breaks are scheduled, okay? And they are not optional. You can't just power through if you are in a flow state and you also cannot extend the breaks if you need more time to decompress. Okay. Now what makes this worse is that most mock simulators do not enforce these exact break patterns. Okay. They might give you the total time limit, but they don't actually simulate the psychological pressure of forced interruptions when you are in deep concentration mode whilst you are in an exam-like situation. That is where most of the mistakes start to happen and your score starts to plummet from set number 3 onwards whilst you are in the exam. So the solution: practice with exact timing structure for the real exam, including any mandatory breaks in between when you are writing the mocks. Okay, I know that this may not be exactly 100% simulated, but try to mimic the actual exam conditions as much as reasonably practicable in your home-based setup whilst you are writing the mocks. So guys, those were the 4 critical reasons why mock test scores do not guarantee PMP exam success, and how you as a PMP exam aspirant can avoid the most common pitfalls that we have discussed in this video. Remember, the exam tests your ability to think like a project manager under very stressful situations. Okay, they do not test just your ability to recall information or to let's say commit and vomit the information or the topic and the syllabus which you have learned whilst you are studying for the PMP exam. Okay, so please prepare for the psychological challenge and not just the content of the syllabus. Okay, and you will significantly increase your chances of passing the PMP exam on your first attempt. Thank you for watching, and I will see you again soon in the next video.